Welcome back, everyone. All right, so now that we have a paragraph tag, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simplify this right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that in here. And by the way, you can always just see the HTML here, and if you don't want the output, you can just go ahead and click that off. Now, it's sometimes good to just to do this without looking at the output. In fact, a lot of really good programmers actually just write it out on a pen and paper. And I remember when I went to school for programming, that was the test. You didn't even have a computer. You just wrote a program out. All right, and so if you want to do that, what a lot of people do is they get a whole book and they just write out programs. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But I highly recommend doing that if you want to get really good at programming. Okay, so in this tutorial, what I want to talk about is headers. Okay, so we now have a paragraph, and this is phenomenal, right? We have some text. Let's go ahead and let's add in what we call a header. So we're just going to type in H1. And you'll notice that, again, these turn up to be red, and this text gets bigger. And, of course, we don't have a closing tag, because headers need a closing tag, like most tags in HTML. And all we need to do is let's just type in header 1. Simple enough. And it's pretty cool. There we go. We got header 1. That's all it is. So you can see that we have a title and a paragraph here. And if I just copy the text in here to make this look more like a paragraph, to make it look more like there's lots of line of text, you can just see that it would be the title and this would be the text. And then if I copy this out a few times, and it's good to just kind of play around with this as well. You know, if I just paste it in here, and you can see that this looks more like a book or a website or something like that. Okay, so there are in fact 6 kinds of headers. So let's go ahead and let's enter them right now. And the header 2 we'll just call title 2, and of course we need the closing tag. Header 3 is, let's just call it title 3, and of course we need the closing tag. Header 4 will be title 4, and we'll make that slash header 4. And you notice that if I slice in slash header 3, header 2, or header 1, it doesn't work because it doesn't make any sense, because we haven't actually set up and opened one of these yet. That means that we haven't started a header 1, because this header 1 is opened when we put the first tag and then closed when we put this tag right here. All right, so we need to put header 4. Now header 5 is a little different. We need to type in rooster, and no, I'm just kidding. You can just go ahead and type in header 5, title 5, and we'll go in header 5 like this. And then the last one here is going to be header 6. Okay? And we'll just go title 6. Okay? And of course we need header 6 here. Now, you'll see that it says your work wasn't saved. If that comes up, don't worry about that. Okay? So now you can see that we have, there's 2 things that happen here. The size goes down. So you can see that the title 1 is the biggest, and it just keeps on going down to title 6. And that's the title 6 is actually smaller than the paragraph by default. So you can make it like title, subtitle, like that, etc. Something like this if you want. And by the way, if you push Control or Command Z, you can undo what you did. Okay, so let's go ahead, and that's essentially what the headers are. There's 6 kind of headers. Usually you use header 1 and header 2. Sometimes you use header 3, but essentially that's what this is here. You can add in any one of these titles here. Now there's one other thing that if you just take a notice to what happens when we add in a header tag. If you take a notice here, you'll notice that each one is on its own line. Now, in this paragraph tag, everything is kind of mushed together. So when you close this tag, so if I just even copy this here and paste it like that, you'll see that it just automatically goes over. Now, if I go ahead and type in title 2 again, watch this. If you type in a BR, which is the break, it will go over to the second line there. So the break command actually works out in different in different kind of tags as well. Now, when it comes to programming, what I've just shown you here is that you can actually use different tags in different areas. And in some programming languages, you can't do this. You can't just mix and match the code. You have to do something really specific. And that's why I always like to start people off with HTML, is because you can just kind of mash the code together and it kind of all works. Now, you'll notice one thing is, let's just go ahead and let's just try and make this bold. Okay? And you'll notice that nothing happens. And the reason is that headers are by default bold, meaning that when you put up a header, it's automatically bold. But one thing is for sure is they are not italicized, right? Or slanted to the side. You can see that if I go ahead and close that off, it becomes italicized. And of course, by default, they are not underlined. And of course, you need the closing tag as well, where you want the underline to stop. In this case, right after Title 1. So that's all it is. And you can see that I use the I tag and the U tag, which is the italics tag and the underline tag, in a completely different tag. I used it in the paragraph tag, and then I used it in the header 1 tag, and you can use it in the header 2, header 3, header 4, header 5, or header 6 tag if you want to. You can use them wherever you want. So again, this is the time where if you go ahead and you just kind of make something cool and just play around with it as much as you can, and just see what you can make with what I've given you so far. Because again, the more you code and the more you play around, in some areas it's called sandboxing, you just simply get better. All right, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.